like I said, this was the last exercise of the day. So what I want to do is spend the last couple minutes just talking about next steps, how to take this to the next level, what to check out next, how to do further integrations, and like kind of where the community's going. So what I always like to do is just talk about some cool packages that kind of relate to all of this. So obviously Mongoose is like the coolest package in Mongo. Aside from that, there really isn't a lot of like cool stuff in Mongo other than Mongoose, to be honest, and Node. There's some utility libraries and stuff that kind of make sense with Mongoose, but when it comes to kind of doing everything for you, Mongoose kind of takes the cake with that. I can't really think of anything that I cannot live without when it comes to Mongoose and Mongo other than just having Mongoose. So that's that. But specifically around like helping you build tools, or I'm sorry, helping you build applications with databases and specifically Node.js, there are a lot of other things out there. So for instance, if you prefer to check out a different ORM or something, Waterline, I don't know why I Googled that like it was going to, oh, it did, it's number 2, wow. Okay, yeah, so Waterline is, I guess, it's actually not that active anymore, 3 months ago, but it used to be a very active package. It's like an ORM that works for every database, so not just Mongo, but it works for Postgres, SQL, pretty much everything, and it kind of uses like a Mongoose-like syntax to do queries. So if you want something a little more flexible because you're using mini databases and you just want to use one ORM, Waterline's a good one. There used to be a framework back in the day called Sales.js. It's like, I don't know if you ever heard of that. It used Waterline. That's what it used. The creator created both of them.
So this works with multiple different, you can connect with different databases?
Yeah, it works with multiple databases and it gives you just one like Mongoose-like, you can see it even has the same syntax, organization.create.
You can treat it as one database when you have multiples.
Kind
of, not completely.
No, not completely.
Probably not completely. Yeah,
yeah, that would be legit though.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We need to collaborate on that. I like that. But yeah, no, it doesn't do that. So yeah, that's one. Other ones include, like I can't really think of any like amazing stuff in the Mongo world. People don't really make plugins for Mongoose or Mongo. It kind of they just don't. You kind of got to do your own thing. Other cool stuff with just backends and stuff in general. So there's like tons of different like backends as a service and stuff that kind of help. One in particular is like really cool. It's called Prisma. A really good team, really good company. Why did I Google that? Why? You never know what you're gonna get when you Google. Right now they're talking about GraphQL and stuff, but they're actually switching over to just not just be GraphQL. But they're really cool. They're basically like an ORM as a service. So if you don't want to if you're trying to think about what does that even mean, yeah, it's a new thing. Like you got to read their documentation. But yeah, they're really cool. Highly recommend checking them out. It's open source. You can do a lot of things. But like I said, right now it only works with GraphQL. So if you're doing GraphQL and you just want like a free API for your backend on your own database, they're really cool for that. A really good one is also Hashura.io. Really good team out of India, now they're in the Bay Area. Just like super smart team. I talk with the founders all the time. They're very similar to like Prisma, except for they're like a complete backend as a service. So they kind of just host everything for you, and they connect to your own Postgres database and do stuff. So really cool backend stuff. Can't think of anything that just stands out for me from Mongoose. It's literally just Mongo. I don't use anything else but Mongoose in my applications when it comes to Mongo. There's nothing else that I ever use. Oh, actually, there's something that I wanted to try out, and it's called MongoDB Stitch. This is really cool, actually. So this is like serverless Mongo, and it's created by the people who made Mongo. Basically, and we had to build our own version of this at my company. But basically, who here has built an application in like Lambdas or serverless functions before? Nobody? Okay. You have? Okay, cool. So like the way that they work, the functions, right, they're not long-lived processes. They fire and then they close, and then that's it. So databases really weren't built for that. Databases were meant to be on servers that are open and are operating forever. So they had to rethink how databases work for serverless functions. This is Mongo's answer to that. So it's basically like Firebase, but Mongo. That's basically what they're doing. They're competing with Firebase, but for Mongo. So you can use this on serverless functions, but what it looks like they're shooting for is for you to use this directly in your app. So you don't have a server anymore. You just use Mongo right on your web app or your mobile app, and it's very much like Firebase. You query the database from there. And the way that works is because it's all over HTTP. So they give you like an API basically to hit your database, and your database is like on some server somewhere. So it's like this new thing of HTTP-based databases, if you will. There's tons of them. This is Mongo's version of it. Seems pretty legit. If I was going to use something like Firebase, I would definitely look at this as a contender. But yeah, it kind of handles a lot of stuff for you as far as even has like functions that you can do in the cloud. It do authentication for you. It'll do things like Twilio and Stripe. Pretty much do a lot of stuff for you that you don't have to. So I highly recommend checking it out, and it's obviously built by a really good company. Yep, that's all I got for really cool stuff. Now, as far as like going forward and like what to learn from here, I highly recommend looking into Mongo 4. So Mongo 4 just got released like a couple months ago. Like everybody's been dying for Mongo 4. I highly recommend checking it out and seeing what's new with it because again, it made Mongo asset compliant, and I think because of that, a lot of things are going to change in the Mongo world. If it isn't good already, it's going to be really good soon. So I highly recommend taking advantage of that. So if your team is interested in using Mongo, but you're like, oh, what about transactions and asset compliancy and like all this stuff? Well, it does that now. So check it out. A lot of cool stuff. No, I don't have any questions.
And pitch your course.
Oh yeah, how did I forget about that? I'm like thinking about like cool stuff, and I'm not thinking about my own course. And also, yeah, so we did a little bit of API stuff here at the end with Mongo. I have a course on Front-End Masters that talks about that in more detail. So I should have just typed in my name. Why did I not type my name? Okay, so we have the REST and GraphQL API design in Node.js v2. So this is like the version 2 of it. But basically, I go into a little more detail about using Express, which is a Node API-based framework. And in that course, you're also going to be using Mongo, and it clearly says that here. So you'll be building a REST application with Express and Mongo, and then I take it to the next level, and then I show you how to like convert that REST application to GraphQL, and the differences between the two, how they can work side by side, how they can work on top of each other, like all the different things. So you'll be touching the whole spectrum of the APIs in Node and Express, which is my preferred method. So a lot of the stuff that I'm teaching in this course is literally the code that I use every day at my company. This is why I was so excited to teach it, because I was like, I just did a whole bunch of cool stuff and I want to share it with everybody. So Mark let me teach it, and I appreciate that. Yeah, so check that out. That's a really good next step to go further. And if you haven't used Node before, this is your first time using Node, like, oh, I used Mongo today, but I haven't really used Node before, then the course I just taught yesterday was the Intro to Node. Check that one out. It'll be ready whenever the team gets done with it and posting it, but be on the lookout for that one, and that one will give you a really good introduction into Node in general. So the only requirement for that is that you know JavaScript. That's it. If you know JavaScript, you can take that course. Other than that, small plug here, check out my product, Type.io, manage your content. Check out the video. I think you'll figure out how it works. Sign up for beta. We'll be releasing soon. All right, well, I appreciate everybody coming for the course, and thanks Mark and the team for having me.